Hello, people. This is Zyberpunky and friends, and today Shinja and Officer Dan are joining me in this really cool, interesting topic, and it is about GameStop. Game over GameStop. So yeah, GameStop is officially gone. It's out of Puerto Rico. Um, in our second podcast, we discussed that like 1.5 months ago that I was going to leave, and now it's gone.
Yep.
Uh, so yeah, so we have Officer Dan here. Let's say he can tell us his experience with GameStop. So why don't you start, Officer Dan?
Oh, certainly. But real quick for you, did you have one final chance to walk up and press X to pay your respects?
Well, I went to buy the last two games.
Uh huh.
So it was like Xbox games because that's what's left
That's what they
from.
had left.
Yeah, Xbox is the most less selling console or games in Puerto Rico. You can actually tell why are they still GameStop products in there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just bought like the just two games. That there are a lot left. There's PS2 games there, and yeah, like and when they stopped selling PS2 games, my thoughts were like,
They
well,
got
I
rid of
think
them or something.
yeah, they like got rid of them, but no, they. I mean, why would you do that? Why would you just take them and just put them away and hide them? You know, I mean, they stopped selling them like 4 or 5 years ago already,
Mm.
and now they're starting to sell everything so desperately and trying to get rid of everything. But yeah, but since they're gone, well, it's I don't know what they did with it. I don't know how they managed to to get rid of the games and the product that they used to sell there. So there was one employee there. Uh, uh you know, I was I was like, man,
I'm sure he
this
was
is
thrilled and happy
he
to be working that day.
he was alone. I was like, I think that was after I got off the university that day, and I'm like, oh, let's go to games and let's buy these two games I want.
Yeah.
And then this guy texting, he was I think was texting or on Facebook, I don't know.
Uh-huh.
While working.
Yeah.
Yeah, while working. So he was like, well, can I help you? Like, oh yeah, could you is this game here? Is this game here? And he said, okay, this game is not here, but this game is. So yeah, I can tell that the employees there, they were they were not happy. They
Mm-hmm.
were destroyed. It's work, and to find another job here in Puerto Rico, it's kind of hard. It's not the same as the U.S.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
People
mean,
here struggle to 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 go to a job
yeah.
badly.
And then GameStop was one of those stores where you'd have thought that like, oh, I got a job here. It's a pretty safe job, like it being like a pretty big, uh, U.S. company.
Hmm.
It has so many stores, like it's such a big chain. That's the word I was looking for.
Uh-huh.
So, it has stores all across the world, doesn't it? Like even in the UK, it has.
Oh, I don't know what country they're in, but I know what
I
country
don't.
they're not, or not
And
country. I know where they're not now. It's
Puerto
Puerto
Rico.
Rico.
But
Yeah. So the guy pretty he did a good customer service. Like, so I'm going to walk here. happy for the first time because Shinja knows my experiences with GameStop, and wow, it's been a long ride with GameStop here. It, so it's goodbye. I mean, it had its pros and cons, but it had more cons than pros.
Yes.
And that's one of my concerns if a new game store, will be, uh, you know, be
Opening.
selling games in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are my what are my thoughts right now. Maybe later on in this podcast, I might say other things. So in difference with the U.S. GameStop, I want you guys tell me the differences. I mean, if the employee, the customer service, the something. If you guys see or heard something different from Puerto Rico's GameStop versus the U.S. GameStop,
Well,
is there any difference?
I believe we would share the same stigma.
well,
You guys
like
would.
the like remember, I've lived in Puerto Rico for most of my life.
Yeah.
I've only lived in the U.S. for like 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
And so most of the issues I've had have been like with Puerto Rican GameStops. Out here, I've only been to a few GameStops, and like the only issue I really ever have is like I go to trade in a game because I've tried to trade in a game here, and like 5 games, and it's like 10 cents or something like that.
Yep.
I'm like, and I'm not even joking. That's kind of almost like the exact price they gave me, and I'm like, no, forget this. I don't even know why I thought like to like trade this in. But for the most part, like, I only really go to one GameStop here, and the GameStop I go to every time I go there, there's just this like, I guess I want to say kind of younger girl that you can tell she likes anime and video games because she's like got like these
Buttons?
yeah. So I'm sure you know which one I'm talking about. Then.
Actually, I don't.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Okay. Well, yeah, she's got buttons and stuff, and I'm like, oh, she seems pretty chill and cool. Because every time I go in, she's like, oh, you just want this game? And she'll be like, oh, have you heard about this one? And it's actually a pretty cool conversation. She knows what she's doing, and I'm in and out. So, with that GameStop, I've not had any issues.
Yeah.
But yeah, Puerto Rico GameStop is pretty annoying. I've shared one of my stories before, but I'll probably retell it later.
Well, the stigma is, I believe, from the way that you talk, is shared. The internet will have a disdain for GameStop for the most part, and I'm not jumping on that bandwagon. I'm jumping from personal experience. I don't like a salesman in general. Okay, I'm an introvert and an extrovert who wants to get in my face and try to tell me to do something and manipulate me to try and do something. I'll just completely shut them off, and they just lose tons of respect points.
Yeah.
Like, you're withdrawing too much from the bank already. I don't know you, but you're trying to tell me to get a warranty for this and to pre-order 50,000 other things and to get, warranty, the coverage, to protect your discs. Do you want to sign up for this club?
That's the butt fucking.
Oh,
you said it, not me.
I see your membership is
member
expiring.
slapping.
You want to renew it now? Because if you do,
now?
you get this and that and $10
Dude,
off.
this game's similar to this. We have this coming out in a month. Or it was like, do you play Call of Duty? And that's where the straw is broken. So I don't like that type of person in any context who does that.
In any store, we hate that.
In any situation, I believe I hate it more than most people. I think of the time, even just in the one time in Vintage Stock, I told that on Karibukai play. I think it was in Akiba's episode where I'd go off about even the grief that guy gave you, and that wasn't much of anything. But this GameStop is like that times 5.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to share that story, this is in GameStop, but this is just an example of like bad like customer service or whatever. So I hate it whenever I go into a store anyway, and like the first thing I get is like, hey, how are you doing? You finding everything okay? I'll immediately cringe, and I'll be like, yeah, everything's fine. And they're like, okay, and they just leave away. Anyway, that has nothing to do with the story, but I go to this store called the Vintage Stock,
which I love, by the way.
Yeah, they got tons of amazing things. I've gotten a few stuff for all of us there.
So don't get me wrong about that.
Yeah, but we went and we bought a Kiba strip from Vintage Stock, and I also bought Catherine. I might be doing a solo playthrough of that.
The PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
Copies.
Yeah. But I go to the the checkout desk, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to pay, whatever. And the guy's like, oh, keep a strip. They came out with the PS4 version, right? And I'm like, yeah, I don't got a PS4 though. He's like, oh, dude, like the PS4 version though has boob physics or whatever. Like you can like use a touchpad on the controller to play around with the girl's boobs. And as soon as he says that, he swipes my card. And I'm like, oh, dude. I'm like, I would have waited for that. What the heck? I'm just joking, though. But then he starts talking about how the game's repetitive, and it'll send you on lots of fetch quests.
And how much he doesn't like it.
Yeah. So he starts dissing on the game. By the way, I don't agree with what he said.
For like a minute.
Oh my god.
We played through the game, and I'm like, there's not really a lot of... Well, there was this one fetch quest that really got on my grind.
It was annoying to find that, and some of the battle sequences could have gone faster.
But
I mean, that's just what
to be granted, I did play it on the hardest difficulty, and I'm now playing it by myself on Otaku difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Wow. Even harder. That's true, too. Yeah.
He was just talking pretty much bad about the game, and so
he wouldn't stop spewing crap, man.
And this is all after he's already charged me for the game.
Yeah.
So
he's just standing there, and you're just sitting there taking it.
Yeah, and so I'm like, whatever. I my personality is basically just like, haha, you're funny, bye. And so we're leaving, and we exit the door, and Dan's like, what an asshole.
I rant about that the entire way back to my place so we can finally check the game out.
Yeah.
The entire ride. I can't stand it, man. And so that was just a small incident just with that one guy. GameStop wants to do that to me every single time I'm in there. So so please understand, I'm not on any internet bandwagon here. This is how I am wired as a person. That I just can't stand that type of thing. And that's what GameStop wants to throw at me every time.
Yeah.
I forget what we were kind of talking about. We kind of just went off.
Well, it was just like the differences between the two GameStops. Like, I mean,
my feelings towards GameStop, I think. Right?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Just go for it.
Let it all go out now. Imagine you're on 4chan or Tumblr.
I don't
Reddit.
Visit that part of the internet.
Tumblr or Reddit. That's why I gave you the three places where people like to bitch a lot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm already a pretty negative person, so the things that come to mind are kind of sort of positive experiences, really.
Well, you can share those as well.
I
Yeah.
plan on it. So, the first one that comes to mind is when Saints Row 4 first came out. The manager at this time also kind of managed 2 or 3 other stores in the area, and we were there for the midnight release for Saints Row 4, and I didn't really dress up. I didn't think. I mean, I had a black vest, but if you're familiar with Saints Row, the gang just wears purple in general. And so all I did was have a pair of, black vest, black pants, and then a purple shirt underneath and a hat that was also purple. And I was really taken aback because we're there for the midnight release and the manager comes out from behind the back and he's like, "Whoa, you're dressed like the guy!" And I'm like, I kind of sort of look like the guy in the front cover, but not really. 'Cause I'm wearing this ridiculous purple pimp hat I got from a Halloween store years ago. One of those situations where the Halloween store, it's like the day after Halloween, so they discount everything 90%. And so then I just go and oh, this hat's pimping. I'll just pick this up.
Literally.
Yeah, for $2 or $3 because it's cheap.
Wow.
So I have it for next time. Who knows when I need a purple pimp hat? I did for this situation, so it all worked out. And he takes all kinds of pictures with me. He gets fake money from somewhere. And I'm like, how do you have fake money for? But he has fake money, and he has me, holding my hand out like he's paying me out, like I'm a gangster, paying up, his protection for the store or whatever, like that. And I'm like, they don't really do that in the game either. But he takes...
But it's still pretty funny.
He's happy because he's about to go... This manager's about to go out to Vegas because of, managers. It's like a great big meeting for all the GameStop people in the U.S. They're meeting in Vegas.
Really?
Yeah, to have a gathering. And he's happy because he gets to take all these pictures of me from his midnight release for Saints Row 4. And he's going to show the pictures to everybody and potentially have them up on a big slide for absolutely everybody to see at this GameStop thing. So, who knows? Maybe somewhere out there on the internet, there's
pictures of you.
There's a saint out there, clad in purple, looking like me. I have another kind of big story, but I don't want to go on a tangent for minutes at a time. So, what are some other experiences that you guys have had that are positive, if any, or do you only have more disdain like I have for that,
It's hard for me to remember the good stuff.
Well, the one positive time that I've had, okay, I would share one negative story and then one positive story. And let's end it on a good note. But so I don't know if you know this, but I actually applied for GameStop once.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They were doing a whole it's like, I think it was near Christmas and they needed help and whatnot, and so they were hiring people just for that season.
Yeah.
But I thought it'd be cool to join or whatever. Now in Puerto Rico, there are no jobs. So when GameStop put all over their windows, hey, we're having an open interview, just or a walk-in interview sort of thing. Just come to the store with an application filled out and you're interviewed right on the spot. Everyone and their mother, quite literally, went to that GameStop because it was one specific GameStop to go interview. I go, and it's like 8 in the morning, 8 or 9.
Yeah.
I didn't leave until 6 p.m.
What? Were you waiting in line or something?
There was a ridiculous line.
Yeah.
People were there, even before I was.
Yeah.
Just was a ridiculous line. They weren't expecting these
It's like
this
a
many
Black
people.
Friday line.
Yeah, and so you have a mix of a whole bunch of nerds that love games and know what they're talking about, and then you got people that dressed up in suits and whatnot that they look kind of businessy, but they're way over in their 40s or whatever. So I don't know if they really had any interest in video games or whatever. And then you even see like I saw this old like lady like she had to be over 70 like
Yeah.
in
Damn.
line just waiting, and so I'm like, what the heck? And then I was talking to this girl at the time. She was she was in line next to me, and we sort of became friends, I guess. Um, and I learned a little bit too much about her because she shared some weird information, like, oh, she's married but not married. Um,
Wow.
I don't want to go too much into that, but like she like didn't even really care too much about, or she didn't know what the job was about really. She knew it was GameStop, and that's basically it. But all she was telling me, she's just like, dude, I'm just going from store to store, applying everywhere, seeing if they hire me. I'm like, oh, okay. Um, so yeah, in the end, they never got back to me, cause, dude, fuck, like, there's so many.
Mhm.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if there was like at least over 200 people in that one small location, and they had to eventually, like, I literally got inside the store, like I'm like a few steps away from like getting interviewed, and they're like, hey, so our interviewers need a break, there's way too many of you.
Mm.
And I'm like, oh fuck. And so they're like, here's a ticket with your number, come back in like an hour, and your spot in line will be held or whatever, and we'll call you by your number or whatever. But just go and eat or something. And I'm like, God damn it!
Yeah,
I
just
just
go and maybe we don't even pick you for.
yeah. I mean, it was a use. It was useless, and then like, you know, everyone in my family's kind of like, oh, don't worry, like something. Like everyone kind of knows that like it's not gonna happen because like they're probably gonna hire someone from the first 10 people they interviewed, because
Yeah.
that's usually how it is. Like by the 150th, you know, you're not gonna look after like the 100th application, maybe, or maybe even after the 20th, you know.
Of course.
So yeah, it was a long wait for nothing. I should have just left ages ago, but whatever. I got to do the whole interview process. Um, and then the good one is from when I was younger. So I remember I was in the mall Plazas Las Americas.
Could you say that again?
Plaza Las Americas.
Floss a lot.
Plaza Las
Yeah.
Americas.
That just sounds like a dentist owns it. Like floss a lot.
No.
Plaza, like plaza.
It's a plaza.
Plaza.
The Americas.
Yeah, Las Americas.
Okay.
Go on.
Anyway, I was at this mall, and I can't remember how old I was, but the Wii was out, and Super Mario Galaxy had just been released that exact same day. And my parents were like, you know, they were doing some shopping or whatever, and I can't remember what was the situation, but they're like, hey, Christian, here, we're gonna take a while, so here, take some money, you can buy whatever you want, like you can buy yourself a game if you want. And so I was like, sweet. So I go to GameStop, and I didn't know Super Mario Galaxy was out, but I see everyone in line picking up a game, and I'm like, oh right, like, you know, they got Super Mario Galaxy plastered all over the walls and whatnot. So I asked for one, and for anyone who pre-ordered the game, they'd get a golden coin for Super Mario Galaxy.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't pre-order it, but the guy at the counter didn't know what he was doing, and he still gave me the coin. So I have a coin.
Oh my gosh, do you have it with you?
I have it back in Puerto Rico. I know where it is,
Oh, wow.
but it's very pretty. So I mean, it's sort of a bad thing that happened because he doesn't know what he's doing, but I don't care. Like that's a good thing in my book. I want more kinds of stuff like that to happen.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So yeah.
So so I got two good experiences. I had so I have to start. Wow, when GameStop was less shit. That was back in 2004 or five.
When it was still Babbage's or EB Games.
Yes,
I don't
exactly.
know.
EB Games.
I don't know.
Wasn't it that
um,
GameStop bought like stores like Babbage's and EB Games?
Yeah,
yeah.
GameStop bought them
That's right.
basically.
Mm-hmm. So this was back when the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox and the GameCube uh were in sales and all that. I mean, it was 2004. I mean, they already came out like 3-4 years ago. But I got my first PlayStation 2, the slim one, not the fat one that everyone got. I got the slim one with some cool games like Pac-Man and some other racing games. Those were my first games from the PlayStation 2, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool because I always been with the Game Boy, PlayStation 1. I was pretty outdated. I
Yeah.
wasn't up to date with my friends, and I was like way behind.
You're still outdated. You don't have PS4.
I'm always am.
I'm just joking.
So,
But
so um, at least it's a really good memory. Because I bought it from, I think it was like EV Games Babbage. I don't know, but it's still the same because they always had that GameStop plastic bag. And I'm like, oh, it's GameStop, but the store says Babbage's. And I'm like, okay, I don't get it.
I was
But
always confused.
yeah, I was always confused too. I'm like, oh, whatever. But it's a good memory that I would always be remembering because it's like, wow, this is the first time I got the PlayStation 2, and the PlayStation 2 is the one that I have most games and I play more the most. I mean, I have more PlayStation 3 now because that's another thing. The other good thing was because GameStop is gone. Is that I had GameStop right there in Plaza Escorial. Plaza Escorial. uh,
Don't confuse Dan with
yeah,
stuff.
Plaza. So, um, people been asking me, man, why do you have so many games? How how's your budget, man? They're like asking me like, how you get all these games? Well, I always waited for them to low down the price. I always bought used games, and buying used games is the most easiest way is to go to the store and buy for 15 or $20. And I always waited at least 2 years, 1 year, 3 years for the game to lower the price. Uh, so yeah, that is still me, and because of GameStop, I have that library of physical games, and it's a really fun memory that I always be remembering for my gaming life, gaming career. And there's something to it, uh, to remember, even though GameStop became so shit. But it also have this cool thing that it make me who I am. It make me also what my channel is right now. Because if it wasn't, me going to that store and buy the used games, I mean, my channel will be like empty. Right now, my channel is full of crap. it's full.
I
It's
mean,
full of
like
video.
I remember when you were looking for a lot of these games. Like I was like your like search engine. You'd be like, "Hey man, I heard about this game. Do you know where I can find it?" I'd be like, "Give me a sec," and I'd be like
Yeah.
googling everywhere, and I'm like, "Okay, this is." this is the closest you'll get to it. I don't think you can get it unless you order it online or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
but I remember that, and so I'd be like, how did he learn about these games?
Dude,
Because
I've been researching all the used games, all the old games, and
yeah,
that is why.
some of them are screwy. You have a few gems in there. Some of them
Yeah.
are
Hidden
weird.
gems.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you got
Yeah.
quite a few games there.
So, thanks to games that I have, like hidden gems, even Japanese games that were released here in America, and they're not even here anymore, like Dragon Guard 3. You can't find that anywhere here in Puerto Rico anymore. That's like a rare game right now because those kind of Square Enix Japanese games, you can't find them unless you buy them online, used.
Yeah.
So going back to Officer Dan.
Oh, certainly. Well, for those of you who don't know, I'm not as fierce into it these days because finances, but I also love Amiibo. Nintendo's Amiibo figures. That's something I've always wanted. And Smash Brothers. Oh, I'm such a huge fan. And so that's what these were. These were things that I dreamed about when Melee first had trophies. Like, that they would release actual little trophies, and that's what these were. I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta have them all. At least for Smash Brothers. And so I still do that a little bit. I'm just not as fierce, and I'm out of the loop. But anyhow, this dates back to when I was really fierce into it. You mentioned Reddit. That's the reason why I'm on checking out Reddit anyway, is because of the Amiibo subreddit, which is very, very fierce, and I have them to thank for finding a lot of the stuff that I did, because there's so many employees on there from all these different stores taking pictures of their inventory on their little guns and talking about internal emails, and other users on there taking pictures of people's stock and saying where it's at, and this, that, and the other thing. So, this is a period of time when Ness, who's from Earthbound, was very clearly going to be very sought after, because that is a cult classic, a masterpiece of a game, and his series hasn't had any merchandise around him at all at this point in time here in America. There are a few things over in Japan, but America hasn't had any love for Earthbound other than the original Super NES game. And you know how rare that's a very rare sought after cartridge if you were to find it. And it wasn't even released on Virtual Console for the longest time either. So it was either pay $150. It's like a $200 cart nowadays. Anyhow, this was the first bit of merchandise ever, and people love that game, and they love that character. He's getting an amiibo coming up soon, and it's exclusive at GameStop. That is a worst case scenario. Amiibo hunters for the most part, hate when a figure is exclusive to a store, because you have to rely on how good or bad that store is. So when Walmart had Gold Mario, that is a worst case scenario. Horrible. And so there are tons of jokes of like, oh, Walmart's going to get this. And Walmart did get something, and it has never been seen from again. Gold Mario,
It's to Walmart.
That's So freaking Walmart. There's a good story from getting that thing too.
Yeah.
But we're talking about GameStop today.
Yeah. When Walmart closes, we'll talk about Walmart.
So I had in my amiibo hunting, as much as I don't care for GameStop, they just had a very clear system already in place for pre-orders, obviously, since that's what GameStop only wants to sell anymore, is pre-orders, really.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I thought, I'd be doing some. So we know Nest is coming soon. and I'm at work, and I'm on the Amiibo subreddit, and there's an employee that takes a picture of an email that this isn't announced public at all, but he goes to the Amiibo subreddit, has this picture of an email saying pre-orders are going to open up for Ness, and like the next wave of figures, which also includes 2 very hotly contested characters, which is any Fire Emblem character. So that also included Robin and Lucina, and whoever else came at the time.
His story.
So they are also very highly contested, and so to fans and Amiibo hunters, this is a big friggin' deal. This is the first piece of information we have on getting not only Ness, but these Fire Emblem characters alongside. And Fire Emblem characters are still really hot, as far as I can tell. It seems like Ike's kind of easy now, but I'm a little bit out of the loop, so I'm not as much of an authority on it anyways. So I call a GameStop, and they don't know what I'm talking about. And they have lied to me before. So I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. This was sent everywhere. I call a different store. He knows what I'm talking about. Because because that email just came out, and I'm like, I'm gonna do it. They have a specific date and time listed when they're gonna open these up. They didn't announce this, like I said. This was just a leaked email that a GameStop employee put out. So if I'm there on this Thursday at 2 p.m., which is the next day from reading this, like, I'll be able to get my pre-orders in. So I go. It works out that work lets me go for how it goes. And I'm an hour early, and of course there's like a couple other people there, because they have inside information too. So I'm just an hour early. It's me, this older woman, and this...
Excuse me.
I don't know how to describe this young man. But
Was he young?
no, he was about my age, really. Like, mid-20s.
This dude.
In his 20s, yeah. This dude, and he's just one of those types of nerds that can rub me the wrong way sometimes.
Yeah.
Because of how negative they are. So he's one of those. That puts me in third place at this line. Okay? And so I'm hanging around the store for an hour. And there's other people in the store at the time, right? And they said, okay, we're going to use up these registers because these people are here after these hotly contested items, these Amiibo figures. This is the only chance they have to get them so far, as I know. And so we're going to be using these 3 registers up, and we're going to be ringing these in. And so that was the day. 2 p.m. hits, and he starts to take orders for what we want. The first lady has an SKU for all 6 that were coming out at the same time. So there's an SKU just for getting all 6. And I'm just shooting to get Ness, Robin, and Lucina that day. And so he has to punch those in one at a time. But 2 p.m. hits, and that's the day nationwide the GameStop servers melted.
Oh my goodness.
This process took over an hour and a half of that one lady that even had the SKU for all 6. That took over an hour and a half for the computer to get through the pages, man. And so for this close to 2 hours, man, he can't use the registers for anybody in the store because me, this lady, and this other guy, which this other guy is after the same 3 I'm after, by the way, are taking up the registers. And so there are people that are mad that can't even buy anything. There's an old guy that came in with his kid trying to buy the horrible Walking Dead game. The FPS Walking Dead game that was really bad.
Yeah.
For his kid.
The first-person shooter one.
Yeah. I forget what that was called. Survival Instinct, I think.
Maybe something like that.
I might be confusing that with the Cabela's game.
Whatever.
But anyhow, there are mad people like trying to buy stuff and they can't because we're using this up. So it's me and this other guy having to individually put in who we want next. So I'm like, okay, I know what order I'm going to go in. I'm going to say Ness first. Yes, definitely Ness. And so that process takes a little over half an hour. Okay?
Yeah.
And so that guy also says Ness.
Yeah.
And then time passes. And as these pages go through, we have to input our personal information because they're getting shipped to the houses, right? So I also have to say, just for context, I also have to say my personal information out loud, where I live, okay? Even my phone number and stuff like that for the shipping and things like that, right? So I say Ness. He says Ness. Time passes. I say Lucina. He says Lucina.
What?
Because that's the next important one. And again, saying our information out loud. Oh, I need to back up for a second. While we're waiting in line, how I know this person is obnoxious is because he's trying to talk to me. And I don't appreciate how he's talking to me. And we also play Smash on the 3DS, and I destroy him, man. He wants to play with 4 stock with items on, and we played like 7 matches, and he only got 2 stocks off me at best in one of those games, and I destroy him with all kinds of characters. But anyhow, I win every game that we play.
Yeah.
Okay, now fast forward. Lucina, time passes, and I'm like, when it comes time to put in the information, like, instead of me saying out loud for this third one, he even has me go behind the counter while he has to console all their customers to have me put in my information. Okay? So I even do that the third time for Robin. We both say Robin. Time passes agonizingly as all this is happening across the United States. There were even GameStops, I heard, in the aftermath of all this, that completely shut down the store.
Yeah.
And I saw pictures of stores that completely shut down, like, we can't even use our computers. We're shutting it down. It turns out they got reprimanded. Some people got reprimanded for completely shutting down the store for that. Even people that were there for Amiibo. Okay, so while we're waiting for Robin, the first lady finishes, and her order is completely confirmed, and she leaves a happy lass.
Yeah.
But I'm waiting there agonizingly for Robin to go through, and then the other person behind me gets that register finally. Except he decides to ring out other people.
Yeah.
Who are waiting. So I'm waiting for Robin. Agonizingly, man. Over half an hour passes. Me and this other guy waiting for Robin. That's the last of the order. I also got the Splatoon 3 pack that day. That's right. But I saved that for last.
Okay.
Because I knew that wouldn't be as bad. So we're waiting, and he's at the other register with the guy, and something comes up on his computer for the other guy, and he says, "I'm sorry, man. They just sold out of Robin." And he's like, "Oh, man, really?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm sorry, really." And I'm standing at the other register. Wait a second. What about my Robin? And he looks at my computer and he says it's still going through. A few seconds later, my Robin gets confirmed. And the other guy's doesn't. This other guy was in second place, and he even started his order slightly before me. And we were racing, I guess. And I get my Robin, and he doesn't get his. And that guy is butthurt, dude. I kid you not. He gets in my face, and he comes up, and he starts to, like, playfully, like, come up and, like, punch me in the face. Because he's just one of those guys. And I was like, for serious, are you kidding me? And I think he's going to kill me. Like, and he's so butthurt. He's like, why did you get it? I was in second place. I was before you. I started doing this first. Why don't I get Robin? When that Robin comes, I'm gonna come to your house and take it from you. And he leaves butthurt. So horribly butthurt. And I turned to the register guy, and he's like, are you kidding me? Mine went through, and his didn't. He's like, yeah, man. He's like, I had to say my personal information out loud, man, more than once. He's gonna find me and kill me, man. And there are other friends who come in at this point in time just to hang out with me in the store. My Robin order goes through, and I get my Splatoon 3-pack, no problem at all. It just happens, like, basically instantly, like any other normal order. And I come out there with my receipts for them and the confirmation that it's going to happen. And we're standing outside, and the guy pulls out of the parking lot, well, starts to pull out of his parking spot, and drives slowly past me and just gives me this horrible look. And my good friend just happily waves with their arms in the air. Like crazy. And I'm like, holy crap, I can't believe it. There's so many people that didn't get the amiibo that they wanted that day. And I met one of them, and I basically took his, and he was going to kill me, man. And so that's my favorite amiibo hunting story by far, and it so happens that GameStop was a part of it. I had to give that register, the guy working the register that day, because he was by himself, I had to go and give him like positive feedback because he was so patient and he was so kind with all the terrible people he had to deal with in the time span that I was there.
I bet anyone would have gone crazy after that. Like, you know, people can get pretty salty when waiting to buy something.
Yeah.
Which I understand. And they were the other customers were probably more mad at you and that other guy and the lady.
Yeah, holding up.
Because they're like, the fuck, I just want to buy this one game. And like,
GameStop sent out a company-wide email saying that they failed and to apologize for the meltdown that happened out over all these.
Yeah, so. Yeah.
Wow. That's...
So sorry that was a bit long-winded, but
no, but it's a great story.
I'm very glad. I'm very glad that I had something to bring to the table during this GameStop discussion.
Yes, yes. And I was going to talk about now that GameStop is gone, maybe Shinja and I talked about this in the last GameStop podcast about, let's see if someone has this idea to create a new gaming store. And if that person does exist, if that person actually is, you know, trying to get the gamers into a good future, well, I hope there is. I really want to have like a Vantage stock like you guys.
Oh yeah.
Because we don't have it here.
Yeah.
We all have it as Walmart and Best Buy, but Best Buy, it sells good games, but not the ones I want. That could be really debatable, but let's get into that.
Mm-hmm.
So, if there's any store of a game store in the future, all that I have to say is just don't make the same mistakes as GameStop. Because if it does, it will completely throw us away. Because we're looking towards a new era of a gaming store, something that it's all about games. It's not going to a supermarket like Walmart, and go to the to the gaming area and search for a Call of Duty Black Ops 1 at for the price, it's still expensive Call of Duty Black Ops,
Yeah.
and in not getting that trade, that buy used games,
Well, some of them have like I
discounts,
don't
etc.
I don't know if they have used game. They have like returned games that they'll sell a little bit cheaper.
Yeah,
But Walmart is a horrible place to buy games. I think. Like
totally.
Dan and I went there the other day. It was late at night, and we saw like PS2 like PS2 games, GameCube games, Nintendo DS games, like Cory in the House.
Yeah, Corey in the house.
Like, and they still had this like one old GameCube game with the microphone it came in. Like, no one's touched that since
Yeah.
forever. And who knows? That might actually be worth way more than what they're selling it for, probably.
Oh, the box is wrecked, so who knows?
Is it? Oh, okay, then never mind.
I mean, it's still manufactured resale price, I bet.
Probably.
Yeah.
So, they obviously the employees there don't take care of the electronics section very well. At least not the video game section. And I'm sure this is not the only Walmart. This happens at a lot of Walmarts. Because Walmart's just they're famous for that. Where like, yeah, they got everything, but their employees suck. And they don't take care of anything.
Yeah.
And not only do the employees suck, but the people who shop there also
Yeah.
suck. They like, no offense if you buy stuff at Walmart, but like
I get so butthurt now.
no, but like you like most people know what I mean when like you see these pictures online of like people going to buy stuff at Walmart in like the weirdest clothes, or or like they'll like cause a like a huge racket or problem or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just I guess the best word I can use is ghetto. It's very ghetto sometimes. But I mean, hey, I kind of do still love Walmart. They do got cheap stuff, so that's great.
Yeah, they do it, including Best Buy. Because Best Buy has really low price games. They're really cool.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. So it's right now Puerto Rico has nothing but Amazon or eBay right now. If the gamer's aiming for hidden gems or any other games that are not in these kinds of stores, so we have to live what the future brings us, towards gaming.
I mean, now is a pretty good time for someone to open up a store in Puerto Rico.
Totally.
I don't think a store from the U.S. is gonna go there.
No.
But it's also a bad time to open up stuff because the government sucks.
Yeah, the government sucks. Yes, got that right.
But I mean, the big problem is there's the demographic that plays video games in Puerto Rico is it's a little bit big. It's like medium sized. I wouldn't say it's huge. But the demographic of gamers that actually have business knowledge is very small.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, to like for someone to actually be like, oh hey, there's no more GameStops. We could make a market in this and make something better. And it comes from a gamer is actually pretty low. Someone else might see the advantages, or might see an open market and just go for it. But I'm afraid it just could end up like another GameStop, or even close down pretty quickly because they don't know how gamers work or how they want to buy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully, the whole tax situation in Puerto Rico gets better, and in that case, it would be very, very good for businesses to start up, and people would be encouraged to buy.
Yes. So any last words? I know you have last words, Shinja. Well, Officer Dan, well, since you don't live in Puerto Rico, but you can also say something. Uh, some last thing, you know, I know GameStop is not doing pretty well either at the US. Maybe they might have to change the name in some future. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sorry. Farewell GameStop, we hardly knew ye in Puerto Rico. I forgot to add that kid complained that he even beat me in Smash Brothers, which is why I had to back up and say Smash, because it's like, I even beat you in Smash, and he didn't, man.
Okay.
Dude,
We're like moved away from the story, and you're like, oh yeah, and I kicked this guy's ass in Smash. Even though he's just...
Sure, he did not kill me.
Well, I backed up for a reason. Yeah,
Oh
I had to back up and tell him I beat him for a reason, because he complained that he beat me and he didn't.
Exactly.
No, I wish GameStop would quit being in my face. I wish that they would not make their employees do dumb stuff like recite a mantra and force pre-orders and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get you, and that's one of the things that customers like did not like about GameStop. Like, I really do want to buy this game, want to get out of here, want to go home and play it. That's it. You don't need to tell me all this shit, all this butt fucking, all this bitch slapping, all this. You get what I mean?
Fuck bucket.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I hear that employees just like they get in trouble if they don't meet a quota of like how many warranties and how many pre-orders they get. Yeah. That's messed up.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, that's really messed up. I'm like, you can't really control people like.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Things. Yeah. So, but anyway, farewell GameStop. It was always a love-hate relationship with me. You know, like you always provided, but you always like spit in my face when you did it. but you know, you are always there for me. Always, except now.
Yeah, you're kind of everywhere.
you
not
weren't
here.
you weren't just a one night stand.
Pretty much.
Yeah, but what was I gonna say? Yeah, they just like one of the things they really need to change is the whole trade-in system.
Yeah, totally. That cheap ass mother.
they're probably making tons of money from it, sort of, because people will still trade in their games. They still do it, and they sell it for like $5 cheaper than retail.
Yeah,
and it annoys me because like I get an email like, oh, we saw that you bought this game through our store or our website, you know, so it automatically adds it to my list of owned games. Mm-hmm. So it'll be like, oh, you bought this $60 games. Trade this game in towards this other game, and you get the, you know, this many credits or whatever. And I'm like, oh, that's sweet. And so like I like look at how much they're offering for each game. So I spent like $60 on a game, trading it in. Half of the money is just gone. It's $30. Mm-hmm. And if it's not even a popular game, they'll be like, oh, it's just
12.
Yeah, 12 or less. And I'm like, what the heck?
Yes.
So that's the biggest issue they need to fix. Like, and especially if you're gonna send me emails about like, you know, trading in my phone. Also, stay away from our phones and stuff. Like, don't get into phones. That's a whole nother business. Stick to games.
I'm stuck on.
Yeah.
I'm still stuck on you saying it wasn't just a one night stand. Like you're in bed with the game. You're in bed with the GameStop logo, and he's like, "Oh, GameStop, you're always there for me." And GameStop leans in and is like,
You want to see our list of games coming up?
Yeah.
Well, anyways, well, for me, it's like I'm glad they're gone, but at the same time, thank you because of that store. I throughout these years, it's been all games through there in that game store. That's GameStop, and I give them thanks because it's part of what my channel is all about, like a bunch of games, and because of them, I have a bunch of games too. But I'm glad they're gone. It's just still a mixed feeling because it has the good and the bad, and the bad and the good. But it's for our own good as a gamer. Myself, I'm telling this to myself. Maybe there's other people thinking the same way, but hasta la vista, baby.
All right, everyone. Thank you for listening. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Zyber Station. This has been Shinja.
"Hey guys, this is Officer Dan. Shinja and I have a gameplay channel called Karibukai Play, where we're uploading new content all the time. So go check us out over there."
Once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys later.